Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are back for another United Daily Live, the place where we get all the latest Manchester United news, headlines, transfer rumours, all that good stuff. And today, got deja vu all over again. This could be 2017, 18, 19, 2016. We are hearing Ed Woodward is this summer targeting a director of football yet again. So we'll be looking at that story that comes from the Telegraph in the British press, that Ed Woodward is looking at signing or bringing in a director of football to accompany Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's current structure that he has in terms of recruitment, transfers and all those kind of things, to go alongside the scouting team and the manager. He wants to bring in someone in that kind of director of football role, sporting director role. So we will be looking at those transfer rumours. I suppose it is a transfer rumour because it's something that affects the way we do our transfer business. But we'll also be looking at some quotes from Jesse Lingard. The Premier League have offered a delay to those teams that are competing in the Champions League and the Europa League. So the next campaign in the Premier League is scheduled to start on or around the September the 12th, 2020, obviously. So September the 12th is the rumoured start date. So if that is the start date for the Premier League, then we could see if United or any of the other English teams in European competition get into the latter stages of that competition, then they'll be offered the opportunity to have an extended break and start their league campaign a little bit later. It will obviously mean that there will be a fixture pile-up somewhere down the line and you'll get extra fixtures. So if you're, say, Man United or Manchester City or whoever, and you're looking at competing on all 3-4 fronts or whatever it's going to be next season. Is the League Cup cancelled? I can't remember if that became a thing for next season. But we're going to see that these teams are going to be competing on all these kind of fronts. So some of them may say, actually, we don't want the break because we don't want a fixture pile up elsewhere. We're going to start having international fixtures again soon, I guess. So we don't want to see us in a position where we've got a fixture pile up. So some teams may reject it, but the fact that it's being offered, I suppose, is good to see as well. And we're also looking at more reports in relation to Alexis Sanchez joining Inter Milan on loan and any other bits of news that is out there. Obviously today we usually have the Aftermath live. I was pretty busy today. We had to do a fair few things for Paddock and I was down with the guys in the studio. So we made loads of bits for there. And I thought, you know what, it's late now. There's no point doing the Aftermath live on a 1-1 draw that is still bugging me, to be totally honest with you. It's still bugging me as much as the Southampton result, as much as the semi-final result against Chelsea. Those are games that are real annoying. But even if we beat West Ham, we know going into that Leicester game that a defeat could still see you going out of the top 4. So it kind of doesn't change anything for us. We still need to go there, look to get a result. Leicester City aren't playing that well at the moment, but we still know they are capable of pulling off a shock. So going there against Leicester City is a difficult game to be having to decide it. But we are going there in third, and that's a position we probably never expected to be in going into the final game of the season when we restarted. When did we restart now? I've totally forgot. In June, wasn't it? So we didn't expect to be in that position then, and we are. So there's positives and there's negatives, but we need to go in there and get a result. So let's look at these reports in relation to Ed Woodward bringing in a director of football. Now, Mike McGrath in the Telegraph said Ed Woodward will look to appoint a director of football at Manchester United this summer. He's yet to start shortlisting candidates. Here we go again, already delays to this. With his priorities being finishing the current season and dealing with the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Manchester United are not looking for a director of football to change the culture of the club, but to be part of the existing structure around Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So let's have a look at this. One sec. So I've lost the article there. So the fact that they're saying it's not going to affect the current structure, what that means is they're quite happy with the way United are doing things at the moment. In terms of recruitment, the scouting, those kind of things. And what you'll see is if you get a director of football in, traditionally you give a lot more power to those director of football in terms of making signings and sales as well. Obviously, United don't want to give much power away. Ed Woodward isn't going to want to give much power away. And the manager isn't going to want to give much power away. Now, a director of football would work probably... You'd have expected a more traditional director of football maybe under someone like Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal. But you can't see that happening under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He seems to be pretty hands-on in terms of the type of players that he has or wants, the type of characters that he wants. So bringing in a sporting director or a director of football alongside that, you know, it's not really a director of football. It's someone just coming in alongside the current structure and acting as a go-between almost. But it doesn't really seem like a director of football as much as they might want to paint it like that. So it's an interesting one, but I wouldn't read much into it, to be totally honest with you. The more you do look into it, you think, well, it's not really a director of football. It's not really a director of football. Ilya says this clown Ed will not buy players this summer. Great to see that we've got confidence in Ed Woodward there. Leicester will be without Maddison as well. We will do a Leicester City preview before the game. Neil Ashton working for them sweet dollars or pounds, says Nick M. I think this is just another positive spin PR story, but hopefully it's true, says Isaacus Prem as well. So Man United and a director of football, to me, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's just one of those things that often pops up and you see it and you think, oh, this is good, but it's not going to happen. Ed Woodward isn't going to give up any sort of control. He's just not going to do it. I think we need to be aware of that. There may be another person coming in alongside Oli, but I don't think it will be anything more than that. Let's have a look at what Daily Mail are saying. So they say Atletico Madrid's Andrea Berta and Juventus Supremo Fabio Paratici are under consideration from Ed Woodward. United will resume their search for a director of football, with Ed Woodward reportedly keen to appoint either Atletico Madrid's Andrea Berta or Fabio Paratici of Juventus. He's considered hiring someone to oversee football operations before, but gave up only for him to decide to now restart the hunt in the coming months. According to the Telegraph, Berta is among those highly regarded in the role who could be tempted to move to Old Trafford. Other targets include Paratici and Antero Henrique, who is currently without a job after leaving PSG. United have also previously been linked with Red Bull's footballing guru Ralph Rangnick. It is claimed the position would be wide-ranging and involve working in areas such as recruitment, the club's training ground, and the development of women's football. Although Woodward has decided the club would benefit from a director of football, he is in no rush to hire and has not whittled down a list of candidates. It is claimed the executive vice chairman is focused on completing this season and handling the financial problems brought about by the coronavirus pandemic. The director of football would not be tasked with altering the culture of the club, like Monchi has done at Sevilla, for example, but to assist manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the existing management structure. United's recruitment was abysmal in the year, that's opinion there. The director of football would work with the current setup of Solskjaer, his coaches, scouts, data analysis, and Matt Judge, the club's chief negotiator. So as you see, it's just another member of staff in one of those roles, in between the manager and the judge and Woodward and all that would help in the decision making. But ultimately it's an advisory role. It's not a powerful position, or as powerful as the director of football would have you believe. And you read these articles and you also see things like Ed Woodward's not looking to do it until the season's over. I hate this idea that we have to wait for certain things to happen to trigger us to do something else. We constantly hear it with transfers as well. Oh, we're waiting for this to happen before we do this. We're never proactive with things. We're more reactive with things. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been quite good in his identification of the players that he wants to bring into United. And the players that we've got in have all improved the team. But Ed Woodward isn't going to give up power. And he's ultimately going to be the guy that says yes or no to whatever's going on. You've just got people in position around Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that helps him in that role. And as you see, people also saying, the article also saying that they would help with the development of women's football. That is not a director of football for the men's team, do you know what I mean? It's not even fulfilling that role. So it's complete spin, to be totally honest with you. Someone said Gary Neville or Scholes for director of football. No, just no. It's not. Shouldn't be jobs for mates. It shouldn't be jobs for people that, Gary Neville's judgment on players is iffy as it is. When you see his commentary on Sky Sports, if it was for him, we probably wouldn't still have Pogba and Marshall at the team. So I wouldn't want to see Gary Neville come into a director of football role at Manchester United. He's not done anything that would suggest that he's got the capabilities of fulfilling that role. So I don't think he should be coming in. Is it just me or standing by watching Chelsea get Havertz, the equivalent? I'm not really that bothered by Havertz as long as we get our prime target, which is Jadon Sancho. I think there's other targets out there. Obviously Havertz is a fantastic talent. Is a great signing for Chelsea. But I'm not overly concerned by it. Same with Timo Werner. There's other players out there. The most important thing that the director of football would do for us is to appoint a right type of manager if or when Ollie leaves. The reason we have dropped so far since Sir Alex Ferguson is recruitment for both players and managers, says Isaacus Prem. How you doing, mate, by the way? Hope you're well. I don't think Ed Woodward would ever give up that much power. He will always have the say in regards to appointing a manager or the final say on getting that cheque signed off by the Glazers for a player. I don't think they would ever give up that much power. Van der Sar is probably the most likely name out of everyone that I've seen commented there. Eric Cantona again, no. As nice as it would be for Eric Cantona to be back at Man United in a role, I just can't see that happening. Can't see much more than Sancho coming in, says Sean. I'm hoping we get a little bit more in than Sancho, but again, I've got similar confidence about it as you. Let's do a little bit of on this day before we move on to the other news story, which is Jesse Lingard's quotes. Let me see there. 23rd of July. Right then. Here we go. 23rd of July 2010. It was a Friday. Captain Nemanja Vidic, cited by his predecessor Gary Neville, speak of the devil, as the best centre-half he had played with at Old Trafford, agrees a new 4-year contract. The Serbian, linked with a move to Real Madrid, signs the following month. So on this day in 2010, Nemanja Vidic had agreed a new 4-year deal with Manchester United. He obviously left at the end of 2014, at the end of his contract. Remember the emotional scenes on the pitch. Was it after David Moyes had been sacked, or I can't remember when it was, but he agreed to join Inter Milan in the January of that season under David Moyes, which was a little bit of souring to see your captain just walk out on you at that point. But he had such a fantastic career for United. He was such a big part of the success that we did have in 2007-08 and around that time as well. A massive player, incredible talent. So yeah, man, good on this day, I suppose. Nemanja Vidic. David says Sancho, Grealish and Ndidi coming in would be massive. I agree with those positions. I agree with Sancho, Grealish. I agree with Ndidi being a fantastic player that I'd like to see us sign. I don't think it's realistic though. I can't see him coming in. JKT69, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Ross Murphy says Captain Leader, Legend Vidic. Shame his final season wasn't great. And if you're wondering why Ross, JKT, Sean and all those guys have that little emoji next to their name, they are members of AdamMcKola TV. This week, Saturday, we've got a live stream coming up, members only one. And we've also got a behind the scenes of the final league match day of the season with me and the Stretford Paddock team, which will be coming up, as well as a members only video. So there's 2 videos this month for you guys on the members. So make sure you're joining us. Click that join button, help support the channel, get involved as well. We've got that coming up this weekend. Idrissa Gueye is a quality player. I've seen some links with us to him. Is at PSG at the moment. I'm not sure how it's been getting on for them. I haven't really paid attention to what they've been doing. But yeah, I was impressed with him when he was at Everton. Samoan85, how you doing, mate? Thank you for getting involved. Director of football is a joke. Don't fall for the spin, says Ryan. Does McTominay deserve first team 11, says Bogdan. At the moment, no. There's no reason to say why he can't fight himself back into contention. But at the moment, I don't think he's shown much when he has played. But that's, you could say Matic hasn't played well recently. Pogba hasn't played well recently. So, you know, it's not to say the midfielders at this moment are as unsung as they were a week or two ago. But whenever McTominay or Fred have come in, they haven't looked that great. Yes, Laura, how you doing? Bit late. What have I missed? We were just looking at the chat about Ed Woodward wanting a director of football, but when you read the reports, they aren't quite what they seem. It just looks like they're looking for someone to accompany Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in terms of his transfer dealings and certain other roles at the club. It's not a director of football. It's more of a sporting director. And they wouldn't have as much power as a director of football either. So, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that one. Guys, get hitting that like button on the video. Get doing that right now as we go on to the other story for today, which is Jesse Lingard. And we've got some quotes from Jesse Lingard. Now, he's been poor recently. Well, not recently, but he's been poor when he's played over the last 12 to 18 months. But with the form of the team and the tiredness in the team, I think he's been a bit unlucky not to be involved. You know, especially in that game against Chelsea, I thought probably the perfect game to start him, especially in that role that Daniel James played. I don't think Daniel James was suited to it. But we'll read these quotes from Jesse Lingard, which have come out in an interview with the MEN. And he said, on Jadon Sancho, he said, Jadon is a brilliant player. It's obviously up to him if he wants to join United. I've seen him with England, I've seen his qualities, and I feel like he'd be a great addition to any team. I think that goes without saying that Jadon Sancho would be a great addition to United. Still a lot of rumours surrounding Jadon Sancho's potential move to the Reds. Lingard said on United, I feel like we're moving in the right direction now, and a trophy would be perfect. That's one of our main goals. We don't really think about who we're playing, we'd rather focus on ourselves. Lockdown really made me sit back and reevaluate everything. I wanted to go in as one of the best and work harder than anyone else. That was my motivation. And when you heard about the fitness tests and all those kind of things that were coming back from training when the players returned, Jesse was one of the fittest players in the squad, which is always a good start in point. He said, I think I've got to be ready in all circumstances, whether you were starting or not. I feel like you can always make an impact in the game, whether you get 25 minutes or 5 minutes. It's about you being ready to make an impact and help the team. When I was playing, he's talking about when he suffered from bad form before the lockdown. He said, when I was playing, I wasn't really fully concentrated. I was thinking about different things in the back of my head of what's happening off the field. I wasn't really mentally right, really, to play even to an extent. Lockdown kind of came at a good time for me where I could really reevaluate the things that were happening. It's just about me getting back to me, like me back to the old Jesse. I used to obviously revise on all the games I played, whether it be the World Cup games or games in the youth team. So that's Jesse talking about obviously his form, him coming back, United, Jadon Sancho potentially joining. Now, he's got a fight in his hands if he wants to be part of the team next season and going forwards. But I think it's a fight that Jesse can grab a hold of. The Europa League's probably a big opportunity for him. And it's going to be a big opportunity for a few players, I think. They're going to be having last chance saloons. You're going to see that probably for Jesse Lingard, Andreas Pereira potentially. A few other players, you could probably see a bit of a last chance saloon for them. In terms of, I can imagine if we get Champions League football, United rest a fair few players in the Europa League. Send some of them on holiday, allow them to get ready for September, because we've seen the fatigue that some of them have had, and use the likes of Jesse Lingard, Andreas, Igalo, etc. As an opportunity for them to get longer periods at the club. And Jesse's probably one of the ones that can benefit from that. I still think there's a talented player in there, and there's definitely someone that tactically can be very useful. As a squad player, he'd be perfect. I think in some situations he's better than the likes of Daniel James, and then I think in other situations Daniel James is better. But they're good, decent squad players to have if you have a competitive first 15, 15 players. I still think we need to get because if Mata leaves and Pereira leaves, Jesse's still in that squad. I think it's one of them stays, Mata, Andreas or Jesse. And I think they're all battling it out in the Europa League, to be honest. I really do. Thank you very much to Ryan Rowe, who has joined AdamMcKola TV. Thank you very much for getting involved, mate. Appreciate your support. Ross says use Laird, Mengi and possibly Axel against Lask. Yeah, I want to see all those guys coming in. Lingard is leaving. I'm sure he knows it himself, says David. What other comments are there? I think Lingard is the first player who needs to be sold. Bogdan. Jesse is a good player for rotation. Not sure why so many people want to sell him. Is another comment which has just moved off the screen. Any other comments? How's Mikey doing? Mikey's in the comments as well. Lorcan says, if you were manager, what would you do to bring the club back to the glory days? I think Ollie's got us in the right direction. We just need to make the right signings now this summer. It's a big summer for Man United. We need to get the right signings in place to help support the good work Ollie has done and push us on another level. There's no point getting complacent with, being potentially third or fourth or fifth, because fifth ain't good enough anyway. So we need to keep pushing on and keep hoping that we can, improve the squad and improve the first 11. Jadon Sancho would be a good start, but I want to see more coming in as well. Any more stories going on? There's an Alexis Sanchez thing. Let's get that up. Eric Cantona is going to be in FIFA 21. Anyone seen that? Wonder if that means that we can play him. So Inter Milan have confirmed talks to extend Alexis Sanchez's loan deal. This is from the United Report website. Inter Milan have officially confirmed that they are in talks with Man United about extending Sanchez's loan deal. The Chilean joined the Italian side at the start of the season, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being keen to remove unwanted figures from his squad. Sanchez has featured 26 times for Inter since, impressing during the second half of the campaign. After suffering a peroneus tendon injury, Alexis rarely featured at the start of the season, but now finds himself a key starter under Antonio Conte. He has started 6 of the last 7 league games for Inter, scoring twice and getting 6 assists. Not bad, I suppose. Such form has gone down well at the San Siro, with Inter now being keen to keep his services. He says, Giuseppe Maratta, the chief executive, says, we have had some contact with Man United to understand if we can extend his stay after the Europa League playoff with Getafe. Inter have just 3 league games left before flying out to Germany. I think that United are going to use that as bargaining to get a permanent deal done for Alexis Sanchez. But it's good to see that he's in some good form. He's hit good form at the right time. A little bit like what Matic has done to us. Hit form at the right time, got a deal, and then probably turn to shit. That's what Sanchez will do. But as long as it gets him off our wage bill, that's all we can ask for. So, it's all coming down to Sunday. Champions League football is at stake. Chelsea, Leicester, United, all battling for 3 spots. There are 9 potential outcomes on the weekend. Chelsea playing Wolves at Stamford Bridge. Leicester United at the King Power Stadium. If Chelsea and Leicester win, Chelsea and Leicester will go through in the top 4, in 3rd and 4th place. That is the first of the scenarios. The second scenario that we're looking at, Chelsea win and United draw. United will finish 4th. Chelsea will finish 3rd, 2 points ahead of us. If Chelsea and United win, United and Chelsea will both finish on 66 points. But United's goal difference is pretty much better than Chelsea's, so we're expected that we'll finish 3rd ahead of them. Leicester will finish in 5th spot. If Leicester win and Chelsea draw, Leicester finish 3rd on 65, Chelsea on 64, United on 63. That would be agonising. Finishing out there by a point, especially after losing those 2 points against West Ham and 2 points against Southampton. The other scenario, United win, Chelsea draw. That would be United top, Chelsea 4th, Leicester there. Leicester and Wolves win would mean Leicester go 3rd, United are 4th, and Chelsea are 5th. United draw and Wolves win. United on 64 points, Leicester would finish 4th on 63. And if United and Wolves win, United will finish on 66 points and Chelsea will squeak through on 63, a point ahead of Leicester. United simply have to get a win. If we draw, most of the scenarios will take us through, but we need to win this game. I don't want us to go into the game looking for a draw and then we're drawing and concede a late goal and things change at Stamford Bridge and it knocks us out. Like, I don't want that to happen. I'm fairly confident Wolves can get a result against Chelsea, but we need to just deal with it ourselves and get a result against Leicester City. They've got a fair few players out. I think Maddison's out, like someone mentioned earlier. Their centre half is suspended. So Wes Morgan's playing for them now. Now, obviously, he's an experienced lad. But Wes Morgan playing, you know. They're without Pereira, Maddison, Fuchs, Chilwell, and Amati, which is pretty good. United are without Phil Jones and Twanzebe, and Bailly could possibly return. It's a big game though, and all the games are kicking off at the same time, 4 PM on Sunday. We will be covering that on Paddock, so make sure you're joining us over there for the watch-along, fan cams and all that. We'll have a preview on AdamMcKola TV. We will also have reaction on AdamMcKola TV as well, so make sure you're with us for that. For now though, guys, this has been, make sure I haven't missed any super chats or anything like that, or any questions or comments. What are into smoking? Did someone mention Zlatan going to Leeds? Don't do it, Zlatan. Don't do it. Can't play Matic is done for the year, says Ash. Big wage for Cavani. What? Cavani's coming. Side note, we need to sign a centre back. Sancho will probably be done soon, but that's our main concern, says the man is here. Yeah, I'm not totally sold on Maguire and Lindelof, to be totally honest with you. Paul B says we only need a draw, that's it. It's a must not lose, simple as that. Yeah. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you're keeping it light. Like the video on your way out. Join if you can as well. For now, I have been AdamMcKola. This has been United Daily Live. We'll be back tomorrow. For now, see you in a bit.